Well, hello and welcome everyone. On behalf of Dimensions and Travel, we are delighted that you are joining us on our trip to Croatia today. This is number 27 in the events that Dimensions and Travel has put together on going to intriguing destinations and unique ways to experience them. We had almost 100 people signed up for this today, which is a fabulous number. I suspect it has more to do with the fact that we have Backroads with us today than any kind of amazing fascination with Croatia. But we'll take what we can get, and we love having Backroads with us. Full disclosure, I'm a former Backroads employee myself, and am just delighted to be here with them today. And I know many of you are former Backroads guests as well. So let's do Backroads. My name is Diana St. James, and I'm one of the owners of Dimensions and Travel, along with Jill Romano. We've been in business since 1978, and we've been helping Backroads guests since 1995, and we plan to be here for many more years to come. We love these events. We feel like they keep the spirit of travel alive in all of us right now while we're waiting safely to go somewhere. Before we get started, just want to go over a couple of housekeeping points. We'd like to have everyone in listen only and no video mode. So just to minimize the number of distractions. So just making sure that your mics and cameras, go ahead and turn those off at this time. We will be doing questions at the end. You can put your questions in the chat box down at the bottom right here at any time. We'll either be answering them during the discussion, during the presentation, or we'll have time at the end to do them. During today's journey to Croatia, we will be biking, hiking, paddling, pedaling, island hopping all along the Dalmatian coast, with a visit to Montenegro and Slovenia as well. I have not been to this part of the world since the 1980s, back when it was Yugoslavia, and it was a group of regions kind of cobbled together by a benevolent dictator, Tito. And so I think today it is a very different collection of countries, and I am eager for us to learn more about them. So first, I'd like to introduce my business partner, Jill Romano. And Jill, will you take it from here? Hi, Jill.
Hi, Diana. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am delighted to be talking about Croatia and Backroads, two of my favorites. And it's my pleasure today to introduce you all to Alicia Kelgard. She's the Business Development and Travel Advisor Manager over at Backroads. Her background is a varied one, from business development and strategic partnerships at Decorist.com, an online interior design company, to an account executive at our ABC7 for 15 years. The last 3 years she's been with Backroads. I'm sure all of you know this, but they are the premier active vacations company that we've been working with for over 20 years. Alicia's role at Backroads includes the responsibility for cultivating and fostering partnerships like the one with our travel advisors at Dimensions and Travel. Many of our travel advisors have been on several Backroads trips over the years, all around the world. And today we're delighted to have Alicia take us all on a virtual trip to Croatia. Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you. Okay, and I'm going to share my screen here with you all. And get started and go back to the beginning. There we go. Well, thank you all very much for joining me today and for your interest in active travel and Backroads and Croatia. So my presentation is going to take you through a little bit of kind of what Backroads is and what we have to offer. And then afterwards, I'm going to have you journey with me through the Dalmatian coast. So a big misconception that people have about Backroads is that we are a bike company. And although we did start off as a bike company, today that only accounts for 60% of our trips. We also offer hiking and multi-adventure experiences. Backroads has been taking people on active travel for over 40 years. We go to 65 different countries, and we have over 5,000 scheduled departures. We also offer custom and private trips. Our group sizes are between 10 and 20 people, and it's our high standard of quality that results in our 60 to 70% return rate that we see. As I mentioned, we offer trips all around the globe and all year round. We offer great trips also in North America. We have trips from the Napa Valley to Vermont, from Canada to Texas, and most of our trips are 5 and 6 days, barring our cruises and safaris and some of our more exotic destinations that are typically 8 to 9 days. For 2021, we do have 2 new offerings. One of them is just in North America, which is Weekend Getaway. They're 2 days and 3 nights trips. And then globally, we introduced our Dolce Tempo. And these trips are more leisure trips, and they are electric assist bike dedicated only. So we do have a wonderful Dolce Tempo trip in the Dalmatian coast that I'll touch on later. At Backroads, we take care of everything, so leave it up to us. We take care of the hotels, the meals, the trip leaders, the equipment, the activities, the hotels, and the restaurant gratuities. We pride ourselves in putting together amazing curated experiences. Most of our trips are away from large cities and major airports that's been proving great for us, especially during what's been going on. Many of our guests also like to add some pre and post destinations onto their trip, as well as most of our trips do require pre and post accommodations. And this is really where your travel advisors at Dimensions in Travel work so beautifully with us. And they just really help complement any kind of additions to the Backroads trip, just to make it even that much more special and that much more perfect. One of the questions I often get is, how is it that Backroads can have something for everyone? How is it that you accommodate all of these different ages and all of these different activity levels? And I would say our secret is really options and support. It starts with the support of the three leaders and 2 vans. And we also offer various route options each day, ranging in difficulty and in length. Both of these things together allow our guests to select distance that is most comfortable for them and allows them to choose how they want to spend their day. The electric assist bikes are also available on almost all of our biking and multi-adventure trips. The other thing that really makes us unique is our leaders are not subcontractors. They're Backroads trained employees who live our mission and our core value and our philosophy. And this is very unique. It's what allows you to rest assured that whenever you go on a Backroads trip, wherever in the world you are, you will have the same wonderful experience every time. Backroads is the only travel company that offers 3 different segments for families, and this is also very unique to us. We learned early on that grouping families together according to the ages of their children lead to more camaraderie and more fun for everyone. Backroads offers does about 30% of their business in family travel. And as you can see here, we have kids and teens, which is ages 4 to 19, older teens and 20s, which is ages 17 plus, and then 20s and beyond. Each of these segments have their own distinct and unique characteristic, which really makes the trip that much more enjoyable for those on it. And now that you have a little bit of background on Backroads and what we're all about, I would like to introduce you to our trips in the Dalmatian coast, a region that's so beautiful with sapphire waters and whitewashed villages. In recent years, Croatia has blossomed as one of Europe's hottest new destinations, and Dubrovnik and the Dalmatian coast have become 2 of the country's most sought after escapes. Dubrovnik is an absolute architectural masterpiece, and it is a World Heritage Site with its impressive 82-foot high fortified walls. But before I start showing you all of our trips, I find that showing you a little video of what a Backroads trip is all about is going to really help you understand what I'm talking about. This is our Croatia family adventure.
On this trip, we're actually going to be using 2 really incredible boats.
We have a really wonderful hike for you today. We'll be starting here, descending down into a canyon to Bella Graboglia, and making our way to the Adriatic coastline. We can do some swimming today.
Awesome! This is the abandoned town of Malo Grabje that we will go and visit right now. pretty cool.
Oh, look what I got. I'm gonna go show it to them.
He's like walking. But all the backroad leaders are great. We love the leaders.
I think really separates Backroads from any other place. Such respect for where we are in the local culture to, actually attempt to teach us the language.
Yes, I'm Andy. Yes, I'm Mate.
Were you guys swimming? Yeah, how was it?
Really nice.
Awesome, huh?
This is my second Backroads trip, and it's outstanding, and I can't wait to come back and do another Backroads trip. It's the only company I do.
What made this incredibly special is actually the group. We could not have asked for a nicer group of people to travel with.
I'm like a kid again. Incredible amount of fun.
There were spectacular views at every turn and amazingly choreographed by Backroads.
I think the best way to describe our Backroads experience is that both of my boys have said it's the best trip we've ever taken.
This is the best family trip we've ever done, by far. Nothing else compares. Ready for the bike ride. Food is amazing, people are amazing, team leaders are amazing, great group of people, great riding, kayaking, hiking. Croatia is spectacular, beautiful, super nice people, spectacular landscape. The water is absolutely the most incredible color. It's been perfect. I'd do it again.
And it's true. The leaders really are amazing. And I have to say that we have so many people that take Backroads trips with us that make friends on the trips, and they book together the next year, people they didn't even know, on a Backroads trip together for the following year. So it's really spectacular. And that video, especially now, makes me want to go travel somewhere so badly. But as I mentioned, we offer 7 different trips to this region, 3 biking trips, 2 multi-adventure, 1 walking and hiking, and 1 ocean cruise. The trips in Croatia run from May through October. If you're not a big fan of the heat, I recommend September and October. And October is actually orange picking season, so it's pretty great. The first trip I'm going to talk about is our Croatia to Slovenia bike tour. It's an adults only. That's what we refer to as friends, couples, and solos. And here we cycle the peaceful roads through the lush vineyards, the verdant forest, the terrace hills, and the charming town, exploring Venetian villages and castle ruins. This trip is a stunning visual journey through the gateway to Eastern Europe. The itinerary begins in the Alpine highlands of Slovenia, and you journey to the Croatian coastline on the Styrian Peninsula, biking through and I'm going to butcher this, the Triglav National Park. It feels like you're in the movie The Sound of Music. It's absolutely 100% spectacular. At the end of this trip, if you want to extend the trip, there's so many possibilities. You can continue south to the Dalmatian coast of Croatia. You can head inland to the Croatian lakes, and you can go to one of the most beautiful parks in the world. And you can also head back to Italy and do Venice and the Dolomites and so many other things. The second bike tour is, if you prefer more of a focus on Croatia, the Croatia bike tour is a great choice. You'll bike along the entire Dalmatian coast. The roads are good and paved. You'll take in the pristine beaches and the hidden coves. And it begins in Split, which is a trendy port with hip restaurants and bars. You'll enjoy the fresh seafood and the regional cuisine. There's great wines. Croatia has great sprawling vineyards, and the wines are really amazing. And then you finish up in Dubrovnik. And here, if you choose to extend your stay in Dubrovnik is wonderful with a lot to do and is really known for their great fishing and diving. This trip is offered for adults and older teens and 20s, and kids that are in their 20s and 30s. The third of our biking option is the new one I was talking to you about earlier, which is our new Dolce Tempo trips. And as I mentioned, these trips have all the wonders of a backroads trip, the same, great trip leaders, the same support, the same options, but they're designed with the emphasis of leisure, 2 to 4 hours of activities each day, giving you more time to enjoy the great hotel amenities, do some shopping and explore town. The trip is perfect if you're interested in active travel and would like a soft introduction. The trip is e-bike dedicated, which is great, as Croatia is kind of hilly, so it really does kind of flatten out the ride. It begins in Split and ends in Montenegro. You'll experience miles and miles of untouched coastline, walk to hidden swimming coves, e-bike through vineyards and through quaint villages. You'll learn about the fascinating history of this seafaring stretch of coastline, from medieval village to the walled fortress, towns, and from Marco Polo to where Game of Thrones was filmed, if you're a Game of Thrones fan. Next are our multi-adventure trips. We do offer two options in the Dalmatian coast. Multi-adventure is a great way to enjoy a little bit of everything. On this trip, you hike, you bike, you kayak, and you raft. It's offered for families of all ages, as well as we also have it for adults only. The adventure begins in Split and ends in Dubrovnik. The trip offers a lot of diversity. We ride on the mainland and on 3 very different islands. We travel through wine regions and kayak the clearest, bluest waters. We'll explore the villages with the beautiful red roofs, and the region is so picturesque. We do take private boats to transfer between the islands. The region blends ancient history with modern day, and it's just really, truly beautiful and spectacular. The other multi-adventure trip we offer is from Croatia to Montenegro, and this trip is perfect if you're a history buff. If you enjoy architecture and the changing in landscape, the culture, traditions in this area are really, truly fascinating. It begins in Split as well. You'll experience some of the most dramatic views of the Adriatic, as well as ride on tiny little roads through vineyards and olive groves. You'll enjoy swimming in crystal clear blue waters, and you get to jump in to the waters either midway through your ride or at the end in your biking clothes, whichever you prefer. And yes, that is super fun. The trip ends in Montenegro. If you choose to extend your stay, you can do canyoneering on the Tara River, which is the second biggest canyon in the world, or you can always visit the national park on the northeast part of Montenegro, which is truly spectacular and beautiful as well. If you prefer to hike and biking is not your thing, that you don't want to do it in the multi-adventure and the biking tour, our walking and hiking trip is magnificent, and you gain great insight into Croatia's captivating history and distinctive culture, as well as you get to island hop, swim in secluded swimming oases, hike amid olive groves, vineyards, charming villages, and dramatic cliffs with jaw-dropping sea views. And this trip starts off in the pearl of the Mediterranean that I've been talking about, Dubrovnik, the city that's enchant you with the stunning city walls and mirror-like marble streets. When I was there, I saw David Letterman. We hike over 3 islands, Kerkula, which is the alleged birthplace of Marco Polo, Huar, where the VIPs gather to show off their yachts, and the island is beautiful with gorgeous lavender and great swimming opportunities and all that kind of great stuff. And Brock, which is the biggest island in the Dalmatian coast with the highest island peak in the Adriatic. And then we finish the trip in Split. And then lastly is our ocean cruise from Venice to Croatia. And this trip starts and ends in Venice, Italy. We partner with Penant and AMA for our ocean and river cruises. The ships are luxurious and sleek. They're open air. They have open air bars, 3 lounges, a team of master chefs with crafting gourmet dishes. It's true luxury, and they're absolutely spectacular. We started offering active river and ocean cruising about 7 years ago, and the partnership has proven to be super successful. Backroads adds that active element that many people thought that the cruising was lacking for them. So the the combination of the two is really the best of both worlds. And cruising is really one of the very few ways that you can actually experience a vast amount of a region in a very short amount of time. And that concludes my introduction to backroads and active travel in the Dalmatian coast. And I hope that it has intrigued you and inspired you to travel with us. And I would love to open it up to answer any questions if anybody has any at this time. And if we still have time, we can go through it.
Absolutely. Alicia, if you want to go ahead and just stop your screen share for the moment. And
Yep.
Jill and
There we
I
go.
Jill and I can take a look and see whether there's any questions. Thank you so much. That Croatia is absolutely at the top of my list, and I just love the culture and the gorgeous scenery. And I remember there was this magnificent stroll that you would do through Dubrovnik in the evenings. There would just be, what an amazing city. And I love that it's been so rebuilt following the war, that, you know, all of the culture has vibrantly come back. So
it is. It's truly magical when you walk through that same area that you're talking about.
yes,
It's almost so beautiful and so perfect. It almost seems like it's a set, you know, like it's to a movie or something. It's amazing.
absolutely.
Alicia,
Well,
a couple of the questions that have come up,
Sure.
and I think this probably is in everybody's minds, you know, great to see the video and seeing those families out there enjoying these fantastic trips, but obviously before COVID. So could you spend just maybe a couple of minutes to talk about how it's being handled in Croatia, or how it's being handled with the vans?
Yeah, so we have made a lot of adjustments. You know, obviously we follow whatever it is. Right now, we're only running trips in the United States. And since June, we have taken 2,500 people on backroads trips with no incidents of COVID, neither for our guests or for any of our trip leaders. The trips have all been in, like I said, in the U.S. And it's been great. And we do whatever it is the state mandate is. So if you have to fly into Maine and it is a 48-hour, COVID test showing that it's negative, then that's what we abide by. And so we've definitely done that. As far as the vans go, we've tried to limit it to 2 people in each seat of the van. So we've added more vans to our trips and whatnot. We do ask that people wear masks in the vans. When we're out on the trails, we kind of really leave it up to you, because we can be so far apart with people that you aren't with or don't know. So it's fine. We've done different things. We've accommodated the dining so that instead of doing, big group dining meals, if people would rather have, their own individual table, we can do that. So we've done, a lot of things. We are booking trips the trips are full, to be honest, and people are enjoying them. And the leaders have taken a lot of, have been educated and take a lot of precautions to make sure to wipe everything down. The fascinating thing is we've done things all along that are so great for this. Like if you've ever been on our trip, you're given your bike, it's got your name on it. Your helmet, it's got your name on it. Your trunk bag, it's got your name on it. And you take it with you to your room. Everyone has their own water bottle with their name on them. So there's so many things that we did even before that, are actually that were just customary to us that we've kept in play because it's safe practices. We are booking trips in Europe. And really what we're doing is, as you can see, our trips are very well orchestrated and curated. And so we can't not book them and then just hope that we can magically make them appear in, 3 weeks' time. So what we do is we do book those trips, and then just like everybody else, we're kind of on a wait and see. And if it cancels, then, we make if the borders aren't open, at the time of final payment, then we kind of go, okay, well, are we going to cancel this trip, not cancel this trip? What do we wait? And so that's kind of what we're doing.
Great, thank you so much.
Mhm.
Another question, what are the roads like for biking? Is there a lot of traffic and are the roads narrow in Croatia?
So the roads in Croatia are narrower than they are in the US, but they are paved roads. In fact, a lot of the feedback that we get back is that people thought the roads are better than what they had anticipated. I will tell you, Croatia is hilly and it can sometimes be windy. So it's not when I say that our trips have different levels. There are some trips that they range between levels 1 to 4, and so a 4 trip is a much more difficult trip than a 1 trip, even though you have different options, route options each day, and that's just based on the terrain. And so back roads, I mean, Croatia is about a 3 because there are definitely some rolling hills and things that you're going to have to, you know. So the electric bike is great.
And with regards to hiking, what's sort of the average mileage? And you just mentioned here briefly, there's always a choice of routes, whether you're on a hiking trip or a biking trip. So kind of give us an average of how many miles per day.
It does really depend on the region. Like if you do a hiking trip to Switzerland, you're going to be hiking more than if you do, a multi-adventure trip to Switzerland, or same with the Croatia. It's like the hiking days tend to be longer if you're on the hiking walking trip than on the multi-adventure days. And again, it depends. Sometimes if you want, you can hike, 2 miles. Sometimes it's more, it's 4.5. It really varies from trip to trip. The nice thing is that if there is a destination that interests you, definitely reach out to your agent and have them ask us for a travel planner. The travel planner gives you the day-to-day, and it actually tells you what the elevation is each day and the mileage. And the nice thing about backroads trips is you don't have to decide ahead of time. If you decide that you get there and you're hiking and you get to the first point and you're like, oh gosh, I feel really good, I'm going to keep going, you can keep going. It doesn't, or if you think, oh gosh, today is the day I'm gonna kill it, but you had too much wine the night before, no problem. You can turn around.
Hop in the van.
Hop in the van.
We always say the van is your friend.
The van is your friend.
Exactly. There's another question here about, and we all are working on this in the travel industry in general, is where do we go to look for the COVID situations in a particular country in terms of a resource? And I don't know if Backroads has that on your website for people to access, or they should come to their travel advisor at Dimensions in Travel, and we can kind of guide them to whatever the current resources are for an update on that country.
Yeah. So as far as the COVID guidelines, if you go into Backroads and you type in COVID, it tells you all the things that we do as a company, to definitely minimize any kind of risk in travel. But as far as what it is the prerequisites are to get into a particular region or not, that we'd have to check with the state or whatnot, because they're changing so frequently too. But what we do when we do have a trip in that destination, if you are signed up for it, you definitely get notifications from us as to what's going on, and if you're going to need a negative COVID test, or if you're going to need something to fly or whatever. We definitely notify your agent of those kind of things and work with your agent or with you on it.
That's great. Thank you so much. I guess another question would be, what in terms of food and in terms of allergies or particular food requirements that people have, that's all taken care of in advance?
Yeah, so when you book a Backroads trip, you're going to have your profile, and you're going to log on online, and you're going to have your own page, and your advisor doesn't have access to this page. This is your page, and it's going to ask you things like if you have any dietary restrictions. So if you're vegetarian, if you're lactose intolerant, anything like that. And we definitely do the best we can to accommodate you. There are some regions that we have to, for example, if you have a peanut allergy and we're going to Thailand, that's a little bit tricky because But we definitely talk to you about it, and we definitely have things for you that we know won't have any peanuts. We used to be, if those of you that have been on a backroads trip know that we have these gorgeous backroads picnics that we used to, when we'd stop, and they'd have these beautiful spreads and everything. Because of COVID, we've stopped the picnics, but we do work with like a local restaurant or with the local hotel that where we're staying to do prepackaged. So you can order your prepackaged lunch. It's included in the price. And we have that. Same with, we used to have this great like trail mix bar where you'd make your own trail mix and everything. And now our snacks are all packaged. So they're individually packaged. So you get a granola bar, you get, bag, of nuts or mixed fruit or something like that.
Great. Another fun question here, is Plitvice Lakes National Park included on any of your Croatia trip itineraries?
I don't believe so. I when I saw it, it's what's a recommended add-on if you're in the area.
Yes. And we do that quite a bit when we're booking the trips. Yes. Well, I think that's about it for questions. And yeah, I'm just having someone asked as well, the route from Venice to the Croatia trip. What is the active part of that particular trip?
So the Venice, that is the that's on the cruise. That is actually starts and ends in Venice. So the way the cruises work is that we have a van that goes alongside on the road. So it stops at the ports. And so depending on different areas or whatnot, you will get out at one port and then you ride kind of along with the boat, if you will, and meet at the next destination so that you cover that piece of territory. And it really, it does vary from port to port and whatnot, because it really depends if the distance, if the distance between where one to another is far too long, then of course we can't do it. And then what we do is go out and do more of an adventure through the day throughout the area and do something really fun. Or sometimes we ride for a portion of it, jump in the vans, and the vans take you the other portion of it.
Wonderful. Well, I've got another one here. How much island hopping on the biking trip? Is it only on the Croatia trip? The concern about the logistical challenge for the slower and faster cyclists?
The island hopping, I believe, is only on the multi-adventure trips. And remember, we get on those boats and we go to the different island. And so I think for the actual biking ones, we don't island hop on those, so that we're just on a path. And I will say that people do go at their own pace all the time. And by that, there's the extremes. There's the person that jumps on their bike and goes, and you don't see them at lunch, you don't see them at the wine tasting, you see them back at the hotel, like hanging out by the pool when you pull up, and because they finished in like record time. And then you have some people that go for a little bit, stop, they decide they're going to get like souvenirs or coffees and whatever, and maybe they get back in the van and get driven to the hotel. And then there's some that like loves, I was on a trip where this one woman loved to stop and take pictures of waterfalls. And so she kept taking pictures and taking pictures. And so she took her own sweet time, and it was fine. I mean, you have plenty of time and you're not holding anybody up, because anyone, like for a little while I rode with her and took pictures of the waterfalls, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm done with the waterfalls. And so, then you go on. So it's one of those things,
Absolutely. Well, we have time for maybe another question or two. If anybody's got one they want to pop in here at the last minute. But thank you so much, Alicia. It's been a few years since I've been to Croatia, but you brought it all back in an instant. And I was just remembering the beautiful waters, the great paths. It's just, it's a fabulous place. And the food, my goodness, there's not enough we can say about the food.
Well, thank you so much, Jill and Diana. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having us. And please, if anybody has any questions, please reach out to our partners at Dimensions in Travel, and we'd love to get you whatever information and get you out there. And like I said, we have great trips that we're running currently this summer in North America and in the US. So, there's a lot of beautiful stuff to see here too.
Also, we'd love to have more feedback from any of you that are Backroads people. If you'd like for there to be another Backroads presentation on a destination that Backroads does, and we get a good number of people interested in that, we'd be happy to put together another Backroads program for you so you can feel like you're doing a Backroads experience. Well, thank you, Alicia, and thank you for everybody for coming. We really appreciate having you here today and being able to travel with you to Croatia. And we have an event where we're going to Ireland next on Thursday. So we hope we see you there. All right. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.